G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I have a stream of consciousness art journaling video for you. Yes, Bianca, you can chat too if you want. Hello. Just gonna eat some plastic. Today that's my cat if you don't know. Every time you hear a little, obviously the meows are from the cats, it's not Steve, but it's mostly Bianca. Oliver doesn't talk. Our white cat, he has a voice box. It's a squeaky little pigeon voice box, and he goes into the bathroom. If he ever needs to project his meow, he runs into the bathroom and will meow anywhere there's an echo so he can make more noise. Because in real life, it's really cute, but it's kind of sad because I love when the cats talk, and he doesn't talk a lot. But Bianca's always chatting, so she's our black cat. So we have Oliver was originally white, but then he turned peaches and cream. He's a flame point Siamese, and Bianca is fully black with a white bikini. Very cute. Anyway, love the cats. That is not about this video. My allergies haven't started yet, but we'll get there. I'm doing stream of consciousness art journaling. It's a bit of a hybrid today. Usually when I say stream of consciousness, it means I open up my art journal and I'll just do whatever I feel like doing. It's very intuitive. That means I could write out something like a little quote. I'm trying to dump everything out onto the page, but it's very much led by intuition. So I'm not thinking about anything in particular. Sometimes I'll prompt myself if I want to really unpack some certain thought. I might just start thinking about it and then do whatever I'm led to do, and I might draw a little picture of it, or it might make me feel a certain way, which would then motivate me to do something. It typically gets a little destructive, like draw all over the page, scribble on something, cut the page in half. You can tell when I'm really going through something, but it's not bad. It's a very kind of physical, I don't know, it's a very practical thing to be able to do to unpack your thoughts. When you say that phrase, sometimes it feels very heady and it feels very, cerebral. It all just happens out in the ether. But I really do think you can put some kind of task to that. And the stream of consciousness art journaling is that kind of thing for me. And over the past, I've had a really interesting experience with it in that a lot of what I would do, or certain things that would pop up into my head, revealed that there are things that go on in my brain that I am not really putting there, that just kind of live in the back of my head somewhere, like a thought that will pop forward, that when I look at it and it kind of stares back at me, I think, I don't really think that. I don't really believe that. It sits in the back of my head because I'd picked it up one day, or, enough people had been talking about it, and suddenly it just kind of sits and takes residence in the back of my brain. And I really enjoy the process of unpacking it all, because I do think sometimes it's worth it to, sort some of that junk out. I'm a very heavy thinker. I get very, very heady about a lot of things. I'm super logical as a person, and I need things to make sense. I like things black and white, and that is very difficult for my brain to handle in a world that can be very gray, and in situations that can have lots of potential outcomes or things that go away that I'm not expecting. I feel like I have to really check in with myself often, because I get into this spiral of kind of this mental chaos. So I very manually unpack it and do it all down on the piece of paper, and I love it. I love the process of it. I think it's a great tool that I'm sure therapists would advise if you're in therapy and they suggest art journaling. I don't really know, I'm not a therapist, but I have been told to write things out a lot before, and I think writing is fine too, but I love art. I love drawing. I love pushing a pencil around a page, and I love a paint. So I think there is a bit of a difference to unpacking it with a lot more of a creative tool chest to use, and all these art supplies just kind of make it more fun and whimsical, I guess, for some of the more depressing thoughts. But today I have a few things to unpack. I might kind of go into it with you, but I did want to give you a story time, because I said I would mention, since the NDA is up, what I experienced through the Lady Gaga Abracadabra music video that we shot. So I'm going to talk to you about that, but I will say today's stream of consciousness, even though I gave you that whole speech, that's typically what I do. Today, I'm not really doing that, because there were a few times where I thought, oh, I just want to rip this page in half, but I stopped myself from doing it, because today I actually just wanted to focus more on illustrating the thoughts. So it's not totally stream of consciousness, but it is. It's a little brain dump, but I've illustrated my thoughts. And there's a lot of meaning packed into some certain things that I might not go through. You're absolutely welcome to try and decipher it all and come up with your own meaning for it. But there was some heavier thoughts in there that I just thought, oh, I'll put a little bit of a creative spin on this and code it a little bit. I'll know what it means, but no one else will know what this means. Unless you've seen the substance, in which case you'll absolutely know what it means. But yeah, there's some imagery in there that just kind of was going on in my head and it all kind of needed to get out. I don't know where should I start with. I guess I'll start with the story. I'll start with the story time because it did lead into some of the stuff that I was thinking and what I was unpacking today. So I won't go into painful detail, but I just want to kind of give you a play-by-play of what happened. If you jump back into February, I believe, one of my besties had a birthday and he said, well, for my birthday, can you please do this competition? And I was like, I don't think so. I never do stuff like that. I don't want to do it. And he said, well, you're the only one I know that could do it. Can you please do it? And I was like, well, if I don't have to buy you a birthday present, then I'll do it because that'll save me a lot of money. And I learned it. He came over. Steve and him came to a rooftop car park near our place and it started sprinkling. And so we really quickly had to get it filmed because basically you had to learn a part of Abracadabra, the Lady Gaga music video, and you just had to redo it or, do your own spin on it. But it was essentially learn the dance and do up to a minute of it and put it on social media. You had to tag it a certain way and post it a certain way. And there was like a whole entry process type thing. It was all a lot. And I just told him, like, if you want me to do it, my part will be to learn it and to dance it. Your part will be to do everything else. So it was all of his idea and all of his fault. But I said I would do it. And you know what? Typically I don't do stuff like that. I get very overwhelmed at the thought of competitions online and putting myself out there like that. It can feel very vulnerable. And so I would typically avoid it at all costs. And it's not something I really ever choose to do. And so originally I tried to, once it was all edited and we put it together and I was like, oh, it doesn't look half bad. I tried to put it on my TikTok because I knew a lot of people wouldn't see it there, but you had to upload it to a social media platform. So I was like, all right, I'm going to bury it on my TikTok. No one will see it. And I was proud of it, don't get me wrong, but there was that competition element, and I don't know if I knew at the time or if I found out afterwards, but the judging criteria, because a lot of these things can be like fan voting, and I just thought, there's no way, like I'm not famous on social media, I won't be able to get all these numbers, so I don't, like, what are the chances that you would actually win? But then I read somewhere that they had broken it down into 50% was based on skill, and then 25% was, I think it was creativity of the video, and then 25% was passion or something. Either way, there was like a breakdown of how they were going to judge it, and I thought, oh great, it has nothing to do with a popularity contest. So if I've got the skill, like, yeah, sure, it looks like I can dance in the video, and I think the video looked great because it started sprinkling, and it looks like it's raining heavier than it was, but if you look on the ground, and you see puddles, you can only see it's a light sprinkle. Even then, we wanted to get out of it because we were like, oh no, I don't want to catch a cold, I have work to do, Steve had work to do, but then Josh was like, well, there's this quote that Lady Gaga says about like free reign, and so anyway, it all kind of worked out. It was really great. I thought I hit it from everybody. And then before I knew it, the next day, Lady Gaga had commented on it and then reposted it to TikTok. So then all of a sudden, everyone was seeing it. And I got an overwhelmingly positive response, which was really, really nice. I've never experienced that type of flood of attention on social media. I have a very modest following in a very niche community. And that is the way that I have experienced social media for, the entire time we've been doing art journaling at jlbCREATIVE. So it was a lot. It was a lot to kind of see all that feedback. It was a lot of positivity. There was also some negativity, but it was so heavily outweighed with the positivity. And yeah, I think from then on, I just thought this thing that I didn't really care about, I tried to bury it. I didn't really, whatever. Steve had encouraged me, like, share it on your Instagram. You should share it. You're a dancer. You have to put that stuff out there. But I have been more so now getting back into it, but I've been so slow on updating everything with my dance, and for the longest time it's been connected to my art journaling Instagram, my jlbCREATIVE. So I just thought because it's creative, it can be all the things that I do under the one umbrella. But it was getting a little bit confusing to bring a lot of my dance people over there because they were looking for dancing stuff, but it was mixed in with, fairy drawings. And even though they were very kind and polite about it, it's a confusing message to send that, like, I'm both an art journaler and a dancer. So I went back to my old Instagram. I had a personal Instagram that a friend created for me back in like 2012, 2013. I have no idea. Long time ago. Which I'd kind of abandoned. I post on it rarely. But then I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to pick this back up again. I'm going to make this my dance Instagram. So I think the thing at that point, I kind of thought, well, the thing that this has taught me is that it's okay to put myself out there, that overwhelmingly people will receive you more positively than negatively. Even though that doesn't really bother me sometimes, I had never really tried to put myself out there like that as a dancer. Back when I was, at the first chunk of my career, social media wasn't a huge component of what being a dancer was. Nowadays, it very much is, and a lot of your opportunity can come from that. But it hadn't really clicked to me yet because I still, I didn't have a platform for it. I was more concentrating on what I do on social media with art journaling. So it gave me this perspective of, well, you know what? Why don't you try marketing that, putting yourself out there, looking for your opportunities through social media, like a lot of other dancers do. Like, that felt very validating for that. So I took that as a win, and then I kind of moved on. However, I didn't really care much about it until I got all that attention, and then I started to think, well, what if I did win? And like, Lady Gaga did comment on it. She said it was the Rain on Me edition, which are words that will just kind of stay in the back of my head forever, I guess. And I thought, well, now I do care a little bit. Like, maybe I do want to win. Which is bad. It was bad because I immediately started to care too much, and I kept wishing that I could not care as much as I did when I first did it. But yeah, I think I just received such validation that I thought maybe I had a chance. I guess that's the power of an encouraging word, right? You really start to believe in yourself. I mean, I know that, but I was experiencing it on such a heightened level. So I cared a lot. I love how I said I'd make this quick. I'm not even at the point where I won yet. I got an email saying that you were a potential finalist, and I didn't know what that meant, but I had to sign a whole bunch of papers, and I guess once the papers were verified, you could, it's like a background check and all this stuff. Then you became a finalist. So at that point, they had a specific number of finalists, and then they said there would be grand prize winners from this selection of finalists. But they don't really tell you too much about it. And then in the email, it said, oh, we'll get back to you within the week. And the week had passed, and I didn't hear back from anybody. So not only, I had already at that point kind of thought, because, it had been enough time, I thought I'd already lost before I got the finalist email. So when I got that, the night before, I had like a little bit of a mini breakdown to Steve. It was a day premature. But I was just like, I started caring too much, and now I feel disappointed, and now I feel I feel a little humiliated. Like, I put myself out there. Now people really thought I could win. Like, that's embarrassing. I had a lot of feelings about it. I told you I feel vulnerable in these settings like that. So that was a bit much. Not in the same way that I feel about art journaling. It's so funny when I put my art, my drawings, my paintings, my journaling out there, could not care less. To me, it's so subjective that as long as I'm happy with it, it's completely fine. I'm not trained in art. I think the thing that really took me over the edge is that I am fully trained as a dancer. It was my entire career out of high school. Like, it's all I ever knew. It's the thing that I felt the most confident at. And I think a lot more of my identity is tied to that. And it is very, like, a lot of the success I feel is very tied to an external validation when it comes to dancing, because a lot of the jobs that I wanted to do, which would be my success, relied on someone else seeing me as a right fit for it. And a lot of the times you get rejected, and I spent so many years being rejected after my accident that it just hits a lot harder now. And then as I age, we'll get to that later, the stakes feel a little bit higher. It always feels like you're kind of losing the last opportunities you have. So I'm working through that, but that's where I kind of came at when I was talking to Steve about it. I was like, I feel very disappointed, and I feel very upset, and I feel like I could have done better. And you start to go back and think, like, maybe if I didn't do that, like if I did a better job in this bit. So anyway, got to be a finalist, didn't hear back from them within a week. So I thought, oh, great, I've lost. And it wasn't great. I spent another night, full night, being very upset about it to Steve and just being like, you know, I should be so grateful. And I was feeling very grateful. I was feeling very happy that I'd even made it that far. And then I'd actually recentered myself back to, you know what I got out of this was some real validation that I could use to move forward, putting myself out there on social media as a dancer, as its own separate thing, you know, marketing myself that way, looking for my opportunities and my future career goals there. I felt very validated. So I felt like, you know what, I'll take that as a win. You know, I re-kicked up my old Instagram, and I've, you know, it was the catalyst for something. So I felt like I could just hold on to that. Then the next day, I got an email saying that you're a grand prize winner. And I just gotten off the phone to Steve too. It was like early in the morning. He was coming back from the gym. I think I called to see if I wanted a coffee or something. And then when I hung up, I was rechecking that email every single day. And it was well and truly past the point where they said, this is when we think we'll announce the winners. But even in their email, they said like, it could be a few days after that. But I cut it off. I was like, no, it's done. It's done. So then I saw the email in there, congratulations, and I freaked out, started screaming and crying, got right back on the phone. Steve was like, do you not want the coffee? I was like, no, I won. And he was freaking out, everyone was freaking out. I told Josh, because obviously this was his birthday present. Come to find out, I couldn't give him any of the prizes, because I had to go and do the prize, which was its own entire thing that we're going to get to. But yeah, he was freaking out, he was so excited. The whole time, because it was for his birthday present, I would include him at like every step so he could live vicariously through the experience. So even though he didn't get to physically be a part of a lot of it, he actually did get to be a part of it. And then also he ended up coming to the Club Mayhem event. So originally when I got that prize email, it didn't say a lot about what was happening next, but it did start to ask, you know, like, where are you coming from? Like, do you need flights? Do you need blah, blah, blah? Because we were going to do 2 days in Hollywood. It was either Hollywood or New York. And I was like, thank goodness it's Hollywood, because I was also in rehearsals for something else. And it was going to be a conflict I didn't know if I could work out at that point. I was like, I'm going either way, but I didn't know how much it was going to cost me to go. Like, I thought it was going to cost me my job for a second. So it was a bit stressful. And then a lot of it came very quickly and very last minute. It was almost like, I guess, 2 days before we went, I feel like I actually kind of knew what we were doing, but it was still very much up in the air. I mean, a lot of what they do, you know, you sign the NDA, you can't really talk about it, but I really didn't have a lot to talk about anyway. I was like, I know we're going to a Club Mayhem event. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. I don't know what time it is. They told us to wear something red, black, or white and, you know, be inspired by the music video. But I was like, I have no idea what's going on. They told us to pack certain things. And then I got a booking for a hotel. I told them that I was driving in because, you know, I didn't need a flight. So they paid for my parking and they gave me, you know, like they really set us up to have this couple of days in Hollywood. And it was deemed as a priceless experience because it's through MasterCard, who were hosting this competition. And their tagline is priceless, right? So it was a whole priceless experience. And I have to say, an experience it was. I don't know if I've ever come across, I've never seen anything like this done before. It was truly a first. I kept thinking the whole time, like, who came up with this, or who thought of this, or who even agreed to this? Like, I can't believe this was even something people said yes to. So it turned out that we ended up refilming Abracadabra, the music video. We did the fan edit, and it was at the same studios with the same stylists, the same makeup artists, the same teams, like everyone. Director was Paris Goebel, who did the choreography for the original video. We had her team there that were helping. There were members of the royal family, like which is like her hip hop crew. They were in the video as well. Like, it was just like they said, you know what? Everything you did for Abracadabra, can we redo it? And I guess Lady Gaga and her team were like, yeah, that's great, let's do it. But you're going to do it exactly the same way. So they had to rebuild the set. They had to bring in all the stylists. And I think in the end, there were 32 people in the video. I'm not sure how many people were winners or how many people were added to it, because they didn't give like a breakdown, but I know everyone's kind of journey to getting there was mostly that they were the winner of the video, but I have no idea because a lot of people who also entered the video, they did like a sweepstakes portion after the competition closed. They also ended up in the Club Mayhem event and maybe in the video too. I don't know. We didn't discuss all of that, but I guess even there we were still like, are we allowed to talk about this? You never really know. I have no idea. But ultimately we went there the first day. They said that we were going to get there about noon, which changed to 8 o'clock in the morning. So luckily Steve drove me down or up. We went to the hotel. I checked in and then I went, they would shuttle us to and from places. So then we went to a rehearsal studio somewhere in Hollywood and then went to go and get fitted. And then I was one of the first groups and I went in and they had this massive like table full of all these undergarments. They had racks and racks of clothing, rolls of white leather and lace, and it was just, there was white costumes over here, black ones over here, red things over here, and it all looked like the stuff from Abracadabra. And I was like, oh, this is, because I still had no idea what we were doing. I knew we were going to a rehearsal, we were going to film a video the next day, but other than that, I really didn't know. So the first thing I experienced was like the styling team from the video, and they were telling me about what it was like to style the video. I was like, oh, this is really legit. And then they were giving me pieces that the dancers wore in the video, so we were wearing parts of the same costume. I think the things that I wore from the video were my pants, my gloves, maybe the collar. I don't know if the shirt was in it. And the harness. I had a harness around my thigh. Oh, and the corset. I had like a boned corset. So yeah, that was the whole journey. It was also barefoot, which I was super nervous about. I don't typically dance barefoot. I know it's like a rite of passage for dancers to beat up their feet and get calluses. But ever since my injury, I just don't dance barefoot because my left foot can't really take it. So since my accident. Anyway, I was like, it's fine. I'm here. I'm going to do whatever I'm asked to do. So I got fitted. I got a look done by, I think he was the lead stylist, Hunter. Very nice. Everyone was very nice. Very nice. Very, very LA. Very like of the scene. Like bleached eyebrows, blonde pixie cuts and... Not pixie cuts, like blonde mini bangs, like just a lot. It was a lot of a vibe in there. Everyone was very cool looking. And I feel like I walked in with my rehearsal clothes just looking like someone's uncle. Had my hair all neat and I was very, I don't have tattoos or anything. I don't have blonde hair. I don't have a look. I feel like when I was younger, we used to, people would go to full-time after school to work on their dance career. At the end, when you would go and do your agent's week or whatever, you'd kind of get this look and it would be a part of your branding. I know a lot of girls would like chop their hair off and dye it red. Boys would edge themselves up a little bit, I guess, get a little faux hawk, maybe shave a little slit into your eyebrow. I've never been one to have a look. My look was always classic, clean cut, like just standard McPlain. So I don't know, it's kind of intimidating a little bit to walk in there, and I just thought you'd give over to the process. I'm here to experience this whole thing and then take all of this and tell Josh exactly what it was like, because he was freaking out at every step, just wishing that he could be there and be a part of it. So I wanted to retain every single bit and make sure that I could, give him the full rundown. And he loved it. In the end, he loved all the stories and he loved being a part of it. So it was really great. But after that, it was a lot of hurry up and wait. They had catering there, like a food truck that you could just get any food from, so that was great. I was, I guess, pretending like I was some slim girl and was just eating fruit and salads, which was a big mistake because we had a rehearsal that came up afterwards. There was also a lot of behind-the-scenes crews there. We had a big film crew that were doing behind-the-scenes interviews and everything. So people were being pulled to different sections. We're all meeting each other. Some people are coming fresh off the plane straight to rehearsal. Like, it was a lot. There was a lot of people coming in and out, a lot of different faces. It was very overwhelming to kind of keep track of it all. But I did end up meeting a whole bunch of really fun people that I had such a good time with. And it was nice. I was a little worried that, I didn't know what to expect. And, in certain instances, some people, come into a space and they're not, they're just not open to being friends with other people. And then other people come in and they're the life of the party, and you just kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a choose your own adventure. I generally sit back a little bit in these social settings and then kind of see what's going on, and then try to put myself into a place where I see people are having fun, where they're laughing, where they're open to an experience, because your whole experience can be very shaped by the people that you spend it with. And so I really was just, I was on the back seat just for a touch to make sure that, you know, this looks like a great group of people that I'd like to spend the time with, because there's a lot of people to choose from. So you kind of had your pick of personality, I guess. And yeah, loved it. Loved it. And we did a rehearsal. There's a lot of waiting, a lot of filling out forms. When we finally got into rehearsing, I had actually started stretching, and I didn't really tell anybody this there on the day. I told everyone afterwards because I freaked out. This has happened once before where I've tried to stretch and I kind of pulled my hamstring, and I get really mad about it because I hate stretching, but it's the right thing to do. You're supposed to warm your body up before you start dancing. And I stretched and I was like, great, well, I try to do the right thing and I get injured. So I felt something in my ankle click when I was doing these ankle rolls. I'm just trying to, oh, see, my wrist is clicking. But it clicked and then it started feeling a little like twingy. And I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. Pretend like that didn't happen. And then it kept doing it. And then I stood up on it and it started to like have a little shooting pain in my ankle. And I thought, there's no way. I haven't even started yet. I'm warming up. Have I just injured myself? Warming it. Like, there's no way. I'm not, there's no way this has happened. So I just immediately clicked my brain over into delusion. And I thought, I don't care if that ankle is broken. I'm doing this. Like, there's nothing to stop me from doing what I'm about to do. So thank goodness, after about 20 minutes, when my body had fully warmed up, it started feeling less and less aggravated. And eventually I completely forgot that it had happened. You know, you start hyper-focusing on it. You're like, oh no, what's going on? What's going on? I was so nervous they were going to make us be barefoot in the rehearsal because I thought that's when I feel like it'll come back. So anyway, we start dancing. We're working with a few of the performers who are Paris Goebel's team, and they're going through all of it with us. And we had been given video to make sure that we'd learn the choreography, but obviously since we'd done the videos, you know, I was out on the rooftop. I already knew the chorus, but they gave it to us so that we could kind of refresh it and make sure that we knew, because I never did the floor bit, so I learned that from the video. When we went there, I thought we were just going to have a rehearsal for like, I don't know, 30 minutes, and you know, just go through it and make sure that we knew what we were doing. Absolutely not. We did hours, and it was cleaning. Thorough cleaning, directing, it was filming, editing, cleaning it up, putting people in positions for filming the next day. It was intense. Mind you, I'm a dancer, so I know what a rehearsal is like, and I've been a part of a many rehearsal. There are people here who just did a great job, made a great video, and got picked, who have never been in a rehearsal like this. And this is their first experience, and I started feeling like, if I'm feeling like this, imagine what they're feeling like. This is a lot. Like, it's a lot. We didn't know what to expect, and so when it started to click that, they're expecting us to do it like super well and like the original video. Like, they're breaking it down into bits where they're like, you know, it's not, don't move your leg like this. The emphasis comes from here and push up here. And I'm thinking, that's it. Like, we're actually cleaning it. And this is not something that you would do unless, you know, you've got a whole bunch of dancers and you're trying to create a premium product. That's why you go at it over and over and over again. And I think in my mind, I knew we were filming, but I thought it would just be like a fun little, I don't know, throw us out there, see what happens, edit it all together. The power of editing. No, we did it a lot. We did it a lot. We did the floor part. I think we were halfway into rehearsals, and then they went and got us knee pads because we were just dropping to the floor on our knees, and they were starting to get really beaten up. It's a lot of head thrashing. It's a lot of arms. It was really fun for me as a dancer to go into the details of it, because I learned it from a video and did it myself out on the rooftop. But actually hearing like, oh, that's what that move is supposed to be, it made doing it a lot more fun, and it made it a lot more sense to me, because I was just taking it from a video at face value. You know, until you're in the room with people who know what the moves are and can explain it to you that way, you know, you're kind of just guessing. So that was really fun. Towards the end of the rehearsal, Paris Goebel came in, and then she started watching it, and I think the room just kind of all got intensely, I don't know what you call it, like adrenaline. Adrenaline just kind of surged through the room at that point, because there's a lot of dancers there that are actually industry dancers that, you know, are doing the LA grind every week. And, you know, even though I am a dancer, my world is not so much industry dance as much as it is theme parks and cruise ships. It kind of exists in a completely different space, in my head anyway. You know, the type of dancing you do can be quite different, and the way you get your jobs is quite different. Like, a lot of industry stuff is about networking and who you do classes with and who you know and who you're connected to and the projects you kind of volunteer for. A lot of theme parks and cruise ships is about just going to the audition and booking it, and kind of rolling on top of, you know, one job kind of begets the next and the next, and you just kind of go on a rotation a little bit. A lot of industry work in LA is one and done. You know, you get booked for the gig, you do it for a couple of days, and then you're just looking for the next one. A lot of theme park and cruise ships is contracts, or you do it for 9 months, you do it for 2 years. Like, it's a very different world when you think about the employment aspect of it. So I do think a lot of people felt like when Paris entered the room, this was their chance to really show up and show out. And so I really enjoyed that energy, because I kind of feed off of that. And it was really exciting to dance for someone who, you know, is becoming like an industry legend in her own right. And it was very fun. So I really enjoyed that. However, does not negate the fact that it was a very intense experience. And I think I did have to keep reminding myself and a few others, we're here to have fun, film a music video for Lady Gaga, and, you know, go to a party, and that's what we're here for. Like, just remember, this was a prize that we won. Don't stress too much about it. I'm literally telling myself that, and a couple of other people, because we would just suddenly get lost in like, are we doing it well? Like, are we doing it right? And we'd have to remember, we won a prize. We're here for a good time. So, very intense experience. By the time we got shuttled home, I can say this now, because much like the ankle incident, I didn't want to admit that it was going on. I called Steve when I got back to the hotel. They had given us DoorDash credits for dinners and stuff. And so I used a bunch of my DoorDash credits to get some supplies from CVS. I had to get Icy Hot, I had to get Icy Hot patches, I had to get pain pills, all of this stuff. My neck was unbelievably sore. And I've done this once before. I went to a dance class where I was thrashing too much, and when I was driving, I couldn't even keep my head up, and I was having the same problem on the shuttle ride back. I felt like there wasn't even enough energy in my neck muscles to keep my head up, but then it also felt really uncomfortable down. And I thought I was having some kind of stroke or something, because it was such a bizarre feeling. Not only did it feel like that, but then I started getting like really lightheaded about it. I tried to have a whole bunch of sugar before I left as well, because I think just only eating the salads and the fruit did not work out well for me. So yeah, I was very much in a bad way. I got back to the hotel, I was theragunning everything. I stood in the shower for like 20 minutes, just let the hot water run over me. Icy hotted absolutely everything. And I was on the phone to Steve, and I was a little worried. I didn't even tell him this, but I was like, I don't even know if I'll wake up well enough to go tomorrow. Like, I've felt this pain before, and I can't imagine, if this was just the rehearsal, what am I going to be expected to do tomorrow with this kind of feeling in my body? And MasterCard, I don't even think they expected how hard we were going to be rehearsing, so they ended up sending us also pain pills and like Icy Hot patches and all this stuff that I got from CVS. They got them delivered to our rooms. Also, the hotel I stayed at had a robot. It was a little robot that would deliver things to your room, like if you got a DoorDash or something. So this little robot, his little screen had a little bow tie on it. When he would get close to your door, you'd kind of see his blue light going past the bottom of your door. When he would get there, he would ring the phone, and it would be like, beep, boop, beep, boop, Albert is at the door. And you would go and get it, and it was really cute. So anyway, he delivered all my pain pills. And yeah, woke up the next morning in absolute agony, bruises all over my knees, neck still feeling crazy, but I thought, much like the ankle, I will be going there, and if I drop dead on set, it will be on set. Like, I'm gonna make it to this video shoot. It's my first time I've ever done anything like this. It was nothing's gonna stop me, not even this unbearable pain. So I went early in the morning. Again, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. And we went to eat breakfast. They had all the catering there as well. It was all really good. The lunch they had that day was so good. I wish I could have taken like 50 boxes of it. And I did definitely eat that day. I made sure that I ate. I didn't care that my whole costume was white and skin tight. I thought that's not for me to worry about. I am going to eat because I need the energy. I didn't know what to expect from a day of filming a music video because I've never done it on this scale before. I've been a part of like little video projects here and there a long time ago as well, and most of them were in Australia, so even that I feel like is different. But this was like a big sound stage. The setup where we're all getting ready was a sound stage, and then they rebuilt the set in another sound stage next to it. So when we went in there, it's just unbelievable the amount of production value that went into it. All the behind the scenes crew are there again, all the catering's there, hair and makeup teams over there. They had these mood boards that I was taking photos of. I just could not get enough of how creative the room felt. There are just people who are at the top of their game doing all kinds of hair and makeup and styling, and it just was so exciting to watch. And again, you're there with a whole bunch of people that you've just become fast friends with. You're all kind of experiencing it together. You don't even know how to feel about it. It's overwhelming. You're a little anxious, but you're excited, but you're nervous, but you can't wait. So especially sitting in that anticipation it just kind of felt crazy. It was like this constant little pulse of adrenaline that you were feeding off of all day long, and you just never knew what was about to happen. So I went and got my hair done first. We were all joking at the table because I had just gotten my hair cut back into my little mullet. And I was telling them, I was like, oh, I hope they give me extensions. Because I was seeing a lot of people getting really crazy hair looks. And I thought, well, I don't know what you can do with my hair. I mean, it's a mullet. Like, you can kind of shag it up a little bit. But I wasn't thinking about anything you could do with it. I was like, maybe you could do a little squiggle down here. But I saw there was such good hair. So then LaDawn, my hairstylist, called me over. She is very well respected in her field as well, has done lots of celebrity hair. I couldn't even believe it. We kikied, had the greatest time just chatting it up for, I want to even say it felt like 2 minutes, but I think I was in the chair for maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. She was super quick too, and she knew exactly what she wanted to do. And she said, oh, I think I'm going to give you some length. And I was like, an extension? And she goes, yeah, a rat tail. And I thought, we manifested it. I said I wanted some pieces, I wanted some length. And yeah, she didn't even hear that. She just thought, oh, I'm going to give you this. And so she did these spikes in my hair, put little clips in because my hair was splitting, and it was just amazing. All the products she was using, I'm fascinated with all of it. She just had this vision for what she wanted to do and knew how to execute it and did such a good job, was so confident, so quick, so charismatic as well. Like, we really did have a good time chatting. And then sewed in this, I want to say it was about 18 to 24 inches of an extension, and then braided it, did 2 little bubble braids, had a long little rat tail. And I just could not get enough of myself with that rat tail. Because I mentioned this before, like, I feel like I walked in without a look. I feel like I walk in, clean cut, just looking like someone's uncle wherever I go, especially in this setting. Like, I was not the oldest, but I was one of the oldest people there. Like, a lot of these industry kids are also like, 22, 23. And so it just made me feel like, okay, now I feel like I'm a part of this whole idea. I'm a part of the concept now, and I just loved it. I was walking around like this all day long. I have the extension over there. I'm putting it in a shadow box when I get my shadow box. It's gonna be a part of my little memory display that I'm gonna put up for my abracadabra video. And then I went and did makeup. I had a very fresh kind of look. A little bit of red under the eyes, which was fun. A slight blushing in the lips, some highlight around here, but again, very fresh, kind of bare-faced look. And then I went and put on my costume, and again, we were just kind of hurry up and wait. We were all filming at different times, filming different things. And I had lunch, had a really good lunch. Like I said, I ate a lot. I was slightly stretching here and there because I really didn't know, there was no time frame they gave us about when we were going to do something. But that same night, we had to finish by 8 p.m. because we had to go over to the Club Mayhem event. So it was a strict shooting day, but they didn't give us exactly what time something was happening. And they were also saying, you know, like, if we have time, we want to do these solo shots of here. If we have time, we want to do this. We also just had no idea. So I'll get to that because that was all the hair and makeup and everything. It was really exciting. My makeup artist name was Michael. He did a great job. I had touch-ups as well, which was fun. I felt felt very Hollywood production. Like every time something would stop and they'd come and touch you up and, you know, fix your makeup and everything. And they were so fun too to have on set, the hair and makeup team. I really have to say, like, you know, as exciting as it is to be around all of these, you know, this big, exciting, you know, world, I think like the people that were there that made that experience extra special, I think that is kind of what I take away from it. Anyway, I haven't got a lot of this video left. I think I only filmed for an hour. I've been talking for 40 minutes. It was a great story. I have to tell you all of it. We went and filmed. We got on the thing, and originally we were doing this improvised bit, which is kind of a crazy thing to start with, I'll have to say. There was a chance we would do these improvs, and there was a crane camera up here, and there was a little camera down here, and Paris was kind of live directing it as it was happening, and people were running out and doing solos, and then by the time the line had got, because I put myself right at the back of the line when I heard we were doing that, because I thought, well, I haven't really stretched yet, and if I'm about to do a solo out there, like, I'm probably going to go crazy and break something. So I was in the line trying to stretch as much as I could. By the time it got to us, she was like, bring the next 3 out, because I think we were losing some time. So she's like, just bring groups out at this point. And so we were the first trio to go out, and it was a guy, Anthony, and another one, Brandon, and we'd been chatting to each other beforehand, so we kind of felt a little comfortable with each other. They're both professional dancers, so I was like, oh, this should be a really fun time. And it was like out of body. I can't even explain to you how that felt. Seeing that crane camera up there, knowing that this is my chance to perform to it, and then the other camera down there. And I was scared too, because I was like, well, it's a trio and we're all just making it up on the spot. Like, I don't want to hit him. I don't want to be in the way of him. Like, what are we going to do? It just all worked out like magic. I think that was just the benefit of having like 2 other professional dancers. We knew when kind of to like move around each other. The improv was safe enough. Like, none of us were doing crazy things. We all ended up on the floor at some point, like crawling all over each other. It was crazy. So that was really exciting. If you haven't seen my post, my carousel on Instagram, swipe through, you can actually see that behind the scenes moment in one of those little video clips. There's a whole behind the scenes video that I put together in one of the slides, and you'll see the camera kind of panning around. You'll see us like on the floor over the top of each other. It was insane. So it was a great way to start. As nervous as I was, it was a great way to start it all off. We went back out. I did a little photo shoot with some friends, and then came back in, and we were filming the whole chorus. So it was a huge soundstage. And this is all the stuff that we'd been rehearsing the night before. We had already been given positions, but when you get to filming, like, everything just kind of has to adjust for the camera, because what looks like a straight line in real life sometimes skews weirdly with the camera. So we need to readjust everything, and I had no idea like how long all of that took to be able to space everything out, make it look even, make everyone in the right spot, and then someone would just ever so slightly inch to the wrong side, and we all had to kind of like readjust around that. So each time we had to reset up, I swear it took like 5 minutes just to get the spacing right. And then we started filming it. Again, a lot of adrenaline. We were switching lines, switching positions, doing a lot of crazy stuff, just going over and over and over again. Sometimes we'd have like a touch of a break, but we weren't really leaving set. So I can't tell you how long we were on set for. It felt like a long, long time. And it was really exciting and really nerve-wracking. I think the thing that we did this like starting position where we held our hands out like this, and we were kind of leaning back, and we're supposed to be looking up to, you know, Gaga up there. And it was in those moments that we're very still and just like we're waiting, that I was kind of taking in all of this experience and being like, this is what it is. This is what you've always wondered. Like, what if you did music videos? What if you were in Hollywood dancing for some major artist? Like, what if you did, this is that moment. You are in it. This is what it is. This is what it feels like. Remember it all. Take it all in. If this is the first and last time you do it, just enjoy that this is what it is. And look at it all. Look at all the people that put it together. Look at all the people that are trying to help you succeed. Look at all the people you're sharing it with and all the journeys they took to get here. Look at the camera. Like, look at how expensive that big crane camera is. And it's looking at you. So yeah, it felt incredibly special. And we were doing that for ages. We did that for ages. We took a break. We came back and we did more. We had little setups that we would do. And it was very exciting. It was really exciting. I, again, had no concept of time, so I didn't know when things would be winding up. We were setting up for one of our last shots, and then they had a big setup over here. They had a stand-in for Lady Gaga. And at that point, a lot of people had been anticipating that she would be there. I set my expectations to 0. I was like, everything I experience is going to be a bonus, because, from the beginning, the fact that Lady Gaga even commented on my post, like that, everything beyond that is gravy. So, and that's what I kept trying to tell myself. But obviously, secretly, deep down, I hoped that she would show up. And she did. She showed up looking exactly like Lady Gaga. She's teeny tiny, very sweet. I just didn't know what to expect. Also, she was wearing this really incredible red costume because she was going to be filming with us. So it was really interesting too, because we got to see Lady Gaga working, like in work mode. I mean, you're kind of different when you're in that experience, right? So there was the sweet, thank you for being here. She made a little speech, and then we got to see her work, and she went up on the podium, and it was so incredible just to watch, like, how she knew where the light was, and you're just watching a professional do what they do best. It's exciting to watch. So, she made her little speech. The category is Fans or Die, Little Monsters, My Stage is Yours. And then she would pan over and I would watch the crane, because I was right in the middle at the back, so I knew there was like a second before the crane would actually come over to me, so I'd be watching the whole thing and then move my eyes back over. And then, yeah, that felt crazy. And I was very much having like a little, I don't know, I was having a little time thinking about Gran and thinking about Gran watching me do this, and I'm gonna cry if I... That was really special. Because I feel like I've never tried to do anything like this. As it happened, it was so out of the blue and so out of nowhere. But obviously it was just like very validating, and I just couldn't stop thinking back to like when she would watch all of my solos when I was 13 years old, and I would make them up at home, and they weren't very good, but she still thought it was the best thing ever. And she had no doubts that I would go on to do everything that I wanted to go and do. And so that felt very... I'm not going to cry on YouTube. They're all happy tears. I mean, they're a little sad, but yeah, so that was like, I think, just kind of the cherry on top. And that really happened when Gaga was in the room, because I truly could not believe the experience I was having. So anyway, moving on from that, then we got to watch her record the entire song, because they were going to use that recording for this video. Instead of splicing together the original video, she would record this version. So we watched her do the entire thing, improvise the entire thing. It was so incredible to watch. It was like this live little private performance of Abracadabra. I wish they would release the entire thing, because I was truly blown away by how good it was. And you only get to see a few clips in the actual video. So that's one of the sad things about all the editing and everything, is you lose a lot of great stuff that you just, that it's going to exist in my memories now, but I wish everyone could see how good she was. And I don't even know, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's a reason she's Lady Gaga, right? But yeah, a true professional doing what they do best. It was just stunning to watch. So after that, we talked to the team. They were thanking us for everything. Lady Gaga made her little speech. And yeah, that was it. we wrapped it up. We got undressed. We gave back all our stuff. We got out of hair and makeup. I kept my hair and makeup because we were going straight over to the party. And yeah, I went to the party, and wouldn't you know it, Steve and Josh got tickets to Club Mayhem. MasterCard were doing like a members offer where you could just sign up for free to go to it if you were a MasterCard holder, or they had like a VIP experience. So they actually got silent. They got the VIP experience, and both ended up coming to Club Mayhem. And because that was a part of our prize too, we were in the VIP experience as well. So Steve and Josh got to experience exactly what I got to at Club Mayhem, and we were all doing that together. And it just kind of took me back to being, you know, a young adult partying in the clubs with Lady Gaga playing. That was kind of my introduction to Lady Gaga. I was hitting the clubs as her music was hitting the clubs. So my whole early adulthood was, you know, out in nightlife and exploring, you know, the world. That was the soundtrack to all of that. I listened to every Lady Gaga album throughout, you know, that time, and I danced to it, and I would make up routines to it, and all my friends would sing along to it. So it really just felt like, you know, even I'm at this era now, and it's Mayhem is the album, and it's 2025. It just felt exactly like being back in 2008 and listening to the Fame Monster. Like it's just truly wild. It felt like such a crazy experience. I'm very, very, very thankful to have been a part of it. Obviously very thankful to Josh for wanting that for his birthday and forcing me to do it. Thankful to Steve for encouraging me to, you know, be proud of that work and to, you know, believe that I can, even at this grand old age, which I know is not old, but for a dancer, 34 is pushing it, to believe that I can still go and chase after these wild, crazy dreams, however they happen. I'm not going to become an industry dancer. I just don't think that's my journey. But, you know, my friend Cameron had told me that whatever these opportunities are, they're not for you just because you're not in that space. That whatever needs to find you will find you, irrespective of which class you're in, irrespective of what network you have. And she's like, just look at this, like this opportunity still found you, and you weren't in LA doing the grind. You haven't been out there doing all of that. Like it may have come through a competition and through some random set of circumstances, but it found you nonetheless, and you had the experience. So that was a really nice reminder for me, because there's always this idea of how it should happen, when it should happen, what it should look like when it happens. And that was a lot of what I was kind of journaling out today in this stream of consciousness. And a lot of it had to do with my age. A lot of it made me feel like I was way past, you know, my opportunity. I don't look 22. I don't have that, you know, I just don't know. It felt like, well, it's gone way beyond you now. So it was incredibly validating. As priceless, thanks MasterCard, as an experience as it was. I think it just really set a new perspective for me. It was 100% the external validation that, you know, I won't even say I didn't need. I absolutely needed it. And I'm very excited to have that memory and keep it close and cherish it forever and move forward with my life, feeling better for it. And if anyone who shared that experience with me is watching, which I don't think you are, but just in case you are, thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you so much for enriching that experience with your story. I think one of the most exciting things was when I was watching the video for the first time, I started getting really excited for the friends that I had made when I would see their face pop up in certain shots. And I'd be like, oh, he's gonna love that shot. Or, oh, I can't believe, look, there she is. And I thought that excitement that I was having for them, people were having for me being in that video. And so I was truly able to understand what that felt like, because it just feels too surreal that it's actually me in it still. Sometimes I would look at it and I'm like, that's not me. It is, but it's not. It feels very surreal. I hope that surreal feeling always kind of sticks around, but I'm very, very thankful for it. Thank you for listening to all of this and watching my journaling. I'm about to go to work, so have a lovely day, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. I'll chat to you again very soon. Until then, thank you so much. That's my story. That was my Lady Gaga abracadabra experience. Bye.